whole section now on Mike of the Night is censorship news. Just focusing on censorship. Because that's how bad it's getting on every front. All right, let's head over to the censorship news, guys, and find out what is being censored. So, we covered this today. I made a single short video, and I truly, hopefully you guys can jump on the comments. Federal Appeals Court rules Biden admin and FBI censored social media platforms into censorship, violating First Amendment. Now, this is really big, because since when was it illegal or against... Since when was it against the law to go on social media and tell people how you feel after taking something, or how you feel after, going to the hospital, or how you feel after you get treatment, like when, or you get food poisoning or whatever? Since when was it illegal or against terms and services, right? All right. So, Federal Appeals Court has ruled that the Biden administration, Health Office, and the FBI pressured social media companies to censor posts relating to COVID-19 and Hunter Biden and elections, and violating the First Amendment. And a lot of people would say, Mike, a lot of these social media platforms do not have to abide by the American Constitution. Well, it never did. It always was wide open before. But when Big Pharma wants to take over, or other big establishments want to take over, they just renegotiate the rules as they go along, right? And that's what's been happening. Now, we cover that today in today's video. Is social media on the hook for mass murder? Very simple question. People can't get their stories out. People can't give their opinions on what's happening. People are not allowed to open up and say what's happening because social media banned them. I know this is true because I've got 19 YouTube suspensions for this, right? And now Owen Shroyer, this gentleman, we brought him up on a short video that I made about word salads and censored. Talk show host Owen Shroyer faces jail time for rhetoric he uttered about the stolen 2020 election. So, I mean, you want to go in and talk about this election. We talked about this election before the election even happened. So do I get punished for predicting this stuff? It doesn't make any sense. So you, as an American, okay, you should be able to question your elections. As an American, you have to be able to go in there and say, whoa, 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 whoa. This is in our Constitution. You can't screw around with election and election meddling. You could do 50 years, 30, 20 years in jail for election meddling. Now, everything gets all screwed around. Everything monkey business. They come in with little swipe cards, little insert chips, and change things around. Go into the back ends of the system, rewire things, redo things, and reprogram things, and easily go in and change things. And all Americans want to do, and we're asking, was the last election fixed, right? And from what we're seeing and the cover-ups, yeah, of course it was. It was 100% fixed. If they weren't so damn worried about covering everything up and arresting people for looking into it, and then now they want to put this guy in jail? They want to put this man in jail. Why? Because he talked about the stolen election? After nearly 2 years of trying to fight charges related to his presence outside the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, the day of the insurrection took place. Oh, yeah, the peaceful walkthrough where police let in people walking through the Capitol and taking pictures and selfies. Yeah, the peaceful walkthrough ushered by police, right? But they're not talking about the BLM riots that burned cities to the ground and destroyed mom and pop's businesses and destroyed private sector businesses and destroyed entire families. All the cities that burned to the ground for the Black Lives Matter protests. Remember that? They don't talk about those insurrections. The insurrection took place on D.C. InfoWars host Owen Shroyer has pleaded guilty to a single Class A misdemeanor for entering and remaining in a restricted building or grounds. In August 2020, I don't know why. Okay, guys, I'm gonna call you guys if that's okay. Just give me a sec here. Class A misdemeanor for entering and remaining in a restricted building or grounds. In August 2021, Shroyer was officially charged with an even worse crime A full 8 months after allegedly committing it, he ultimately agreed to plead guilty to above lesser charge. And at the request of the federal government, Shroyer allowed DC spooks to pour through his social media accounts in desperate search of incriminating evidence against him. In the day of the insurrection, Shroyer was seen alongside Alex Jones, warning people not to go inside the Capitol. I remember that, because they knew it was a setup. Not longer after, Shroyer was arrested on bogus charges, all because he is a Donald Trump supporter who questioned the legitimacy of the 2020 election. Do Americans have the right to free speech or not? Well, that's a very simple question to answer. The First Amendment was the freedom of speech, and that includes him. If you have a problem with the First Amendment, avert to the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. There's your problem solved right there. That's your problem solved right there. You can't speak. You can't talk. Do Americans have freedom of speech? Flowchart. Second, right to bear arms. Right? And X sues California over content moderation law. So X is suing California over content moderation law. In recent wave of internet regulations emerging from California, one stands out particularly: continuous AB 587 labeled the Transparency Bill. While the overreaching concept of transparency has been applauded by some, the real-world implications of this particular legislation has risen alarms across the digital space, as in this instance, it's being used as a form of censorship. Elon Musk and X, with his notable influence and resources, has stepped into the spotlight and changed the law's validity, and is welcomed since a similar lawsuit against a bill filed in recent weeks. We obtained a copy of the lawsuit for you here. So let's open her up for you guys. And there's the lawsuit right there. Challenging constitutional and legal validity of California Assembly bill. So again, Gruesome Newsom has been passing bills. A lot of political figures that were chosen by the WEF are under a lot of pressure right now to ban Twitter. They're trying to get rid of Twitter. Europe is on, France is spearheading an attack against Twitter. They're banning Twitter. They do want to get rid of Twitter because obviously, and that's what we've been asking on the show, is Elon Musk going to make or break? Is he going to bend and start censoring? Or is he going to continue and get banned in Europe and then start getting banned in other places? What is going to happen here? So we'll keep you guys on the pulse there with that. And Wikipedia co-founder reveals U.S. intelligence exploited site to spread leftist propaganda for decades. Yeah, oh, it's always like that. Always like that on Wikipedia. You go into everything. It's all lies. Everything is all lies. And ADL caught illegally spying on millions of Americans via secret PlayStation backdoor. So if you hadn't used PlayStation, well, the ADL has been spying on millions of Americans. Artificial intelligence AI robots trained to Anti-Defamation League, ADL, have been granted a backdoor access to PlayStation consoles to secretly spy on millions of Americans and report them to authorities for hate speech violations. According to the disturbing report, the ADL's goal with this nefarious AI spying operation is to track Americans who say things deemed offensive by the Jewish supremacy group. So it's the group that we talked about on the show, and they find it, and they are obviously, and there's Alex Jones right there. I remember him many years ago talking about those inverters. Remember those inverters that you had, those cable comm inverters that you had at the house? This was a long time ago. We're talking like 20 years ago. And he was breaking them open live on his show, showing that they had recording devices in there to record you and your family and what you're doing and what you're talking about. They were already doing this years ago. He uncovered, I remember this, I was really young at the time. I wasn't even on social media when he was doing it. He was on, I think he was on like, on his own, like something like rebroadcast, like a broadcasting at that time, when he was breaking those things open and letting people know that there are back doors to those things, and they've been listening to us for all these years. And, oh, look, piece of crap. And appeals court finds Biden administration violated the First Amendment when it pushed for social media censorship. We covered that at the beginning. And Zelensky on Starlink gate Musk committing evil and driven by big ego. And of course, they don't want you to know what's happening in Russia. The big war there. What do you call it? The war of attrition, we've been calling it. And the war of attrition and money laundering war. And they are at CNN. I don't want to play their crap on here. You guys are watching Mike in the Night. We don't need other people's other fake news on. We don't need fake news on our platform here. Polluting the minds. Okay, let's get a caller on. Ricky Spanish is blowing up my Skype. He needs to come down. And no, Ricky Spanish, you're not mentioning people's names on the show. I don't want to get sued. I mean, you want to mention Zelensky, you can. You can mention whoever you want. That's a big wig that's in the public service or public whatever, not service, public a public headache.